Office of International Affairs, and I also serve as the Peace Corps Prep Program Coordinator. We're also joined here today with staff members from our Office of International Affairs. I'll let them introduce ourselves. And we have a very special guest, Christopher Lenz, who is a regional Peace Corps recruiter. He also was a Peace Corps volunteer in Paraguay and Tanzania. So he'll be able to share some of his experience as being a Peace Corps volunteer with you as well. So maybe we can start with Karen and Randolph and Jean and Sarah.
Hello, I'm Karen Smith. I'm Assistant Director of International Programs, and we welcome you today and delighted that you are here.
Hi, everyone. I'm Randolph Scott. I'm Assistant Director. I'm so jealous of you for the potential opportunity to do Peace Corps. Thank you for joining us today.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jean DeSimon. I'm the International Student Advisor. Welcome. It's good to see everyone here.
And Sarah, are you still with us?
I am. Sarah Brake. I'm Program Manager in the office, here to support in the background.
Thank you. Yeah, we're really excited to be celebrating International Education Week, which is a joint initiative between the Department of State and Department of Education. Usually we do, some big campus events during this week, and unfortunately COVID has altered our plans, but we've tried to set aside some great virtual programming for everyone this week, and glad that you could attend. Christopher, would you like to do a brief introduction, and then we'll get started on some of the information regarding Peace Corps?
Yeah, absolutely. So I just wanted to say thank y'all for having me here for International Education Week, but also congratulations to the University of West Florida for being one of our newest university partners in terms of hosting a Peace Corps prep program. I think it's very exciting, not just for Peace Corps and UWF, but it's just a wonderful opportunity to all those students to just really kind of expand their experience, but also their knowledge of Peace Corps, and hopefully it leads to application and service somewhere around the world as a Peace Corps volunteer.
Thank you. Randolph, will you want to start the presentation by sharing your screen?
Sure, will do.
You cleaned up your desktop.
Just for this presentation.
All those gaps. And
Can you see it? Looks good?
Yeah.
Okay.
So Peace Corps Prep is a certificate program for undergraduates that combine coursework experience and professional development and centers on one empowering question: how can you prepare yourself to be the best Peace Corps volunteer you can be? So for 60 years, again, that sounds like a long time, right? But we are having our 60-year anniversary from when President John F. Kennedy stood on the steps of the University of Michigan and just talked to students about their willingness to go serve overseas countries. The mission of Peace Corps is to promote world peace and friendship, and we do that through 3 different goals. The first goal is to help the people of interested countries in meeting their needs for trained men and women. And that's in many ways the most important part of that goal. Is it's not Peace Corps sending folks overseas, it's these countries that approach Peace Corps and ask us to come live and work in those communities and work on projects and issues that that community has identified as a high need. So that's a very important part of Peace Corps, is we are invited to serve in those countries by those countries themselves. 2/3 of Peace Corps is just cross-cultural. The second goal is to help promote a better understanding of Americans on the part of people served. So we actively try to promote Peace Corps to a very diverse group of Americans. We want the world to know and to see the beauty of America, and that is in our diversity. So it's not just ethnic diversity, it's also religious diversity. It's first-generation college students, it's first-generation Americans, it's older folks, people with disabilities, veterans. So all of that just, helps represent America to the rest of the world. And the back half of that is we help promote a better understanding of other peoples on the part of Americans. So every returned Peace Corps volunteer, whether you served in Mongolia or Tanzania or Guatemala, the idea is when you come home to the United States, you talk to your neighbors, you go to community events, you go to universities, and you talk about your service overseas. And just, you know, to let Americans know that people are people all over the world. They're all interested in bettering their communities, educating their children, and, you know, making just a more friendly and peaceful world. All right, Peace Corps, who we are. So Peace Corps volunteers, we spend 2 years overseas, living and working at the grassroots level to help communities address their most pressing issues, from education to public health, economic development, and more. Volunteers share their culture with the people they serve and bring the culture of their host communities back to the United States. Serving as a volunteer is a life-changing, life-defining experience and an incomparable career jumpstart. All right, so where you can serve. What's interesting is in the 60-year history, we have had 230,000 Americans serve in over 140 different countries. So that is 230,000 completely different experiences. Again, depending if you were in Moldova or Micronesia or Mexico. So some of the best things that you can do is just reach out to local Return Peace Corps volunteers and just hear their stories about their projects, their communities, just their neighbors, and just get a sense of just how different it can be for each person. Pre-COVID, we had 7,100 volunteers serving in 64 countries. We did have to evacuate all of those volunteers, but we kept staff in place in all those countries, and hopefully January of 2021, we'll start reintroducing volunteers to the field. But you can see that volunteers serve in every region of the world. So again, that's the most important thing, is that these countries, they invite us to come live and work there. So Peace Corps is definitely unique in the sense that you can serve and live overseas for 2 years and not spend a penny of your own money. Everything is taken care of by the US government, from the airfare to the 10 weeks of training. All your health and dental is completely covered. Student loans are deferred, if not canceled, depending on the loan. You receive a monthly living allowance to pretty much provide your housing, food, clothing, transportation, everything that you might need to live at a local level. But the benefits after serving, every month that you are overseas, the US government puts money aside. So at the end of 2 years, it is now over $10,000 that is just handed to you upon return. There are also over 100 different universities with over 220 different graduate school programs that all have money attached because you served in Peace Corps. And there is also federal job opportunities. So any federal agency, could be the National Park Service, could be FEMA, could be the EPA, could be Homeland Security, Department of Education. Any federal agency can directly hire a returned Peace Corps volunteer. So there are all these tangible benefits to Peace Corps service, but no one does it for the tangible benefits. It's more about the experience. But it is nice to know that you are taken care of while you're serving. And then there's also these benefits upon completion of service as well. All right, so Peace Corps Prep. Programs create frameworks for you to build 4 core competencies, integrating coursework with hands-on experience and professional development. Upon completion of the program, you will receive a certificate from the Peace Corps and a competitive edge when applying for Peace Corps service. So I'm sure we'll go into this a little bit later, but the certificate is really prestigious. Whether or not you ever end up actually serving as a Peace Corps volunteer, you would have that certificate with you on your resume when you maybe decide to go to graduate school or apply for jobs. People who know Peace Corps really respect what it took to be a Peace Corps volunteer. So.
Thanks so much, Chris, for doing an overview of Peace Corps. And he spoke a little bit about how it's great to have a volunteer base to hear from. And I believe in our session this week, we're going to be meeting with some UWF alumni. Is that correct? Who have served, who volunteered. So And if you are selected to be in the Peace Corps Prep program, we hope to have some programming throughout the year where we can bring in different alumni. And of course, we'll do an orientation for you so that you aren't just joining the program and then you're left on your own. Our office is here to kind of guide you through all of the steps as you begin to check off the things from your student guide. So it was this time last year, actually, that I was working with Kwame from Environmental Science to submit our Peace Corps Prep Program proposal to Peace Corps. And then in February of this year, we were able to get the word that our program was approved. So now we are one of 9 in the state of Florida. And we are delighted to have this program. I've had a lot of interest already from students as well as faculty. Faculty wanting to know if they can add their courses to the lineup of approved courses. So I think we're going to have a really great run at this. The application is now officially open on our website. It's uwf.edu/Peace Corps. So in this presentation, we're just going to touch a little bit on the requirements for students who plan to participate in the program. You do need to be an undergraduate student in order to participate. And as Christopher mentioned, you know, it doesn't guarantee you entrance into the Peace Corps, but it does make you a much more qualified candidate should you apply. But there are also many benefits to having that certificate outside of joining the Peace Corps. So the 4 core competencies are training and experience in a specific work sector, the foreign language skills, intercultural competence, and professional leadership development. So we'll kind of go through each of these to let you know what is required of you once you join. Initially, you will choose a focus sector. This is an area in which you would want to focus on should you be selected in the Peace Corps. And there are the 6 different sectors there. And the courses and skills that are in the student guide are based around these different sectors. So you do need to take 3 courses related to each one. And if you have specific questions on the sector or what kinds of courses can meet those requirements, you can let us know. We've already predetermined some courses, but it may be that there's a course out there that also meets the requirement that we may have inadvertently left off. So whatever is written in the student guide is also, we can always add to it. It's not set in stone. In addition to the courses, you'll also need to complete 50 hours of related work or volunteer experience. And in the student guide, which you'll see a screenshot of in just a few minutes, you'll see that we've listed some of the related field experience, some options for you. And we can also assist you in trying to locate specific field experience related to your sector. The second skill is foreign language. And a foreign language requirement is required if you plan to serve in Latin America or West Africa. So for Latin America, you'll need 2 2000 level Spanish courses. For West Africa, 1 2000 level French course. If you plan to serve elsewhere, you don't have to meet the language requirement, but we would still encourage you to do so. And then intercultural competencies. Again, the student guide will lay out some of the specific requirements for this. The way that we have this one is that you can either take 3 of our approved courses, which are listed in the student guide. These can be some of our courses that are part of the cross-cultural competency program. They can be specific intercultural communication courses. So you can take 3 of those, or you can take 2 of those core courses and then 1 experience. And we also have listed some of the experiences that you may be involved in, such as our Lunar New Year celebration or the Global Block Party, those kinds of things. And our office will be able to work with you to make sure that you are meeting those requirements. And then finally, the professional leadership development piece. Here is where you will meet with our career development and community engagement office to make sure that you are having your resume or CV reviewed, that you're doing mock interviews, that you are kind of getting ready for that next piece of career development upon graduation. So if you're ready to apply, again, you would go to uwf.edu/Peace Corps. And here you'll find a copy of our student guide, which kind of goes through step by step what you need to do in order to meet the requirements for the certificate. And there's also the link to the online application to apply. And we have built a Confluence page, which gives step-by-step instructions on how to submit the application. Of course, if you have questions as you're going through it, you can always give our office a call and we can walk you through it as well. Once you have completed all of the required items from the checklist or from the student guide, we'll kind of do an exit interview, exit checklist to ensure that you have met the requirements listed in the student guide so that we can submit your name to Peace Corps so that a certificate can be issued to you. And it looks something like this. I know that you guys were just requesting names a couple of weeks ago for the certificate. So we're looking forward to giving you those lists of names pretty soon. As I mentioned, I am the Peace Corps Prep Program Coordinator. You can meet with me. Dr. Karen Smith is also assisting me with this effort and can also answer some of your questions. And I believe Christopher will be willing to answer any questions that you have as well, specific to the Peace Corps. We can now open it up to any questions that you might have for any of us.
I have a question. So would past coursework taken at the university count towards this prep program? For instance, like the foreign language requirement, if you've already taken that?
Yes, you can apply coursework that has already been completed.
Awesome,
Well,
thank you.
so long as we can document it on your student account.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions? Who's ready to apply?
I think a lot of students, especially if they are juniors, that they realize once they look at the requirements that they've already met a lot of those. So, that's a great question in terms of if you've already taken foreign language or you've already received, credit from your institution. So, I think a lot of people are pleasantly surprised how many of the prerequisites they've already met to get a Peace Corps prep certificate.
Yeah, Kenna, specifically, you've already been working and volunteering with Global Quarter, which would definitely count towards completing some of the requirements for the Peace Corps prep program. That combined with your international studies major would line you up to have completed made a lot of progress already on this program.
Yeah. Awesome, great to hear. I have another question. I think this would be for, recruiter Mr. Linz. So you mentioned that it's a 2-year required, like it's a 2-year volunteer. Is it always 2 years or can it be more or less?
In terms of being a Peace Corps volunteer? So it is a 27-month commitment. 3 months of that is training that's actually done in your country of service. And then after you complete that 10 to 12 weeks of training, you actually swear in as a volunteer, and then you are assigned to your community for 2 years. There are Peace Corps response programs, but those are only open to folks who have either already completed Peace Corps service or with if they have 5 years of real professional background. Randolph actually, was going to mention that earlier, where you're sort of jealous of students interested in serving in Peace Corps. There is no upper age limit. The basic requirements are that you're 18 years old and a U.S. citizen. That being said, 96% of Peace Corps volunteers do have at least a bachelor's degree. But, some years, 10% of our volunteers are, over the age of 50. Others are, mid-career, midlife, and the vast majority are within a couple of years after college. So the Peace Corps response program, while it is open, it's not really necessarily available to folks who are just graduating. But is definitely something that return volunteers sort of do later on if they're like in between graduate school programs or in between jobs, things like that. So, but yeah, it is a 27-month commitment. I think that's always important to remind people is at no point ever an obligation, right? It's a big commitment. A lot of people end up staying a 3rd year in their country's service because at the end of 2, they look around and they're like, well, why would I leave? I know the kids, I know the old people, I got the language, I have all these projects. Everything wonderful about the United States will be here when you get back. But that's not to say that every volunteer completes 2 years of service, right? There could be a health issue, could be a family issue back home, or maybe it's just not working out. It could be a political problem in that country. Volunteers do return. They don't all complete the 2 years of Peace Corps service, but you are making a commitment, but it goes by fast. So.
Gotcha. That sounds good. Thank you.
That was a real long answer to your easy question. So.
I was wondering about, in terms of service projects, I think I talked to you the first time, like a month ago, about it being like business agriculture. So is it possible for you to like complete your hours of a service project in like 2 different experiences? Because I'm starting to get involved with the community garden at UWF, but I have an ongoing requirement to do service work for the Society of St. Vincent de Paul. Like, I'm a home visitor and I am required to go, a certain amount of hours every week to assess situations and help people through difficult times and things.
So I think that was a prep question in terms of the requirements on campus for completing those 50 hours, right?
Right. So in terms of the program, we do request that you choose one sector, and not necessarily a combined sector, but we can talk about other ways of meeting, the field experience requirements or the courses. I had someone who reached out to me earlier this week who's interested in doing the agriculture sector. And she said, I'm planning on taking botany. I noticed that isn't on the student guide. Can we discuss having that as an addition? So our office is open to, taking suggestions from you or other faculty in terms of meeting those requirements. So, but I think you would need to stick with one specific sector in terms of completing the program.
But yeah, just to be clear, when it comes time to actually apply to Peace Corps, even your prep certificate is not going to pigeonhole you into one Peace Corps project sector or another, where, we're looking at the whole person in terms of resume, transcripts, work history, volunteer activities, community involvement, foreign language skills, things like that. So yeah, you could spend your 50 hours in the agricultural sector to get your prep certificate, but then maybe when it comes time to apply to Peace Corps, you see a health education program working on women's empowerment in like a rural setting, that might at that point be of more interest. So you can always apply to any open Peace Corps program. So, we don't, we're not going to pigeonhole you in just because of your degree or your prep certificate. And I think, I remember talking with you, Elizabeth, during that career fair, but the real beauty of Peace Corps is that you do have a primary project, right? That's why that community asked you to be there, but you're in that community for 2 years. So you're going to come up with 10,000 different things that you're going to be working on depending on your community members, right?
Yeah, I was just making sure it wasn't boxing me in, because when other opportunities had come up for me for volunteer service in connection to the university, they want you to make a decision, like your freshman year, and that's what you were going to do all the way through for like the next 10 years of your life, essentially. So thank you.
Thanks for your question. Anyone else have any questions?
Rachel, would you like to talk maybe about foreign language requirements and where students can earn foreign language credit if they don't already have it?
Certainly. So we do have, Spanish language that is offered as 4 credit on campus. So students who are intending to go to a Latin American country should be able to easily satisfy the Spanish language requirement. French is no longer offered on campus through our Department of Government. However, there are some continuing ed courses that you could take in the French language that we can also consider, as well as some community organizations and other institutions. So if you're perhaps a transfer student who's taken French language or Spanish language at another institution, we can also accept those as transfer credits. And of course, there's other languages as well. So we offer Korean, Arabic, and other languages. So I don't necessarily, even though you may not necessarily use those in your service, having that language knowledge makes you a much more well-rounded individual. It's also part of the cultural competency development.
Right. Any foreign language just shows Peace Corps that you have the ability to learn a foreign language. And we ourselves have enough trouble finding people who speak French before they join Peace Corps for those programs, mostly in West Africa, that we've actually waived the French requirement and will now just take any Romance language. So, you know, if you have taken Romanian, Latin, you know, native Spanish speakers might decide they don't want to serve in, you know, Central South America, they want to go to West Africa, but even just having Spanish in their background would qualify them for those programs because they already do have a second Romance language and stuff. And, you know, that's also the thing about Peace Corps. 80% of our programs don't have language requirements. We can't find people who speak Mongolian or Swahili or Malagasy before they go. But again, there's 10 weeks of language training in that country's service. And at the end of 2 years, you speak whatever your neighbors speak, that's for sure. So, and then a lot of return volunteers, you know, use those sort of niche language experiences, you know, to find jobs or, you know, international careers or just back in the United States and stuff. So.
Any other questions? And feel free to put them in the chat box if you are not comfortable speaking or don't have a microphone readily available. We can also review questions in the chat box. Okay, if there are no other questions, are there any other final thoughts from anyone from International Affairs or Peace Corps?
Rachel, I just wanted to note, I put in the chat box a link to our departmental page regarding the Peace Corps prep program. So everybody go click on that and it'll take you to the main UWF webpage. And from that webpage, you can actually navigate to look at the student guide. The student guide provides really in-depth information on what this program is and what you need to do to complete all the steps that Rachel reviewed in the PowerPoint. So make sure you click on that, go check out the student guide. And then I also wanted to make sure everybody is aware and signed up for our presentation tomorrow at 4:30 p.m. We've got a student alumni panel who is alumni of the Peace Corps program, people who have done Peace Corps or are going to do Peace Corps in the future. So that starts at 4:30. If you haven't signed up for that yet, go to our Global Quarter Facebook page. If you're a UWF student, you probably heard of Global Quarter. It's the main it's our departmental student-led organization for international students and American students. And if you go there, you'll see the link to sign up for the session tomorrow.
Thanks, Randolph. And also a reminder, the Peace Corps Prep Program application is now open, but it will close on January 15th for the intake for the spring semester. So make sure that you get your application in before the January 15th date.
By the way, Jean just added the Facebook Global Quarter link in the chat box as well. So that's where you can click to get the link for the session tomorrow, which starts at 4:30 p.m.
Hey, I just wanted to say out loud that the student guidebook that y'all produced is just wonderful. It's one of the absolute better ones I've seen. So again, just congratulations on all the time and energy that y'all put into producing that. So hopefully a lot of students on campus realize, well, you know, just what the opportunity there is. So thank y'all for all that work.
Thank you. And thank you for joining us today. All right, well, if there are no other questions, I hope you all have a great day. Enjoy the rest of International Education Week. And we look forward to seeing you at our event tomorrow.
Thank you guys. This was awesome.
Great. Thanks, McKenna.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye.